Our first scripture reading this night from Psalm 100. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. And our next reading comes from Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. Listen to these words to the Israelites long ago. As they were going to settle into the promised land, God warns them of how to be, and of course, how not to be. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land of flowing streams, with springs and underground waters, welling up in hills and valleys, a land of wheat and barley, of figs and vines, trees and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land where you may eat bread without scarcity, where you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and from whose hills you may mine copper. You shall eat your fill, and bless the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Take care that you do not forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments, his ordinances, and statutes, which I am commanding you today. When you have eaten your fill, have built fine houses to live in them, and when your herds and flocks have multiplied, and your silver and gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then do not exalt yourself, forgetting the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness, an arid wasteland with poisonous snakes and scorpions. He made the water flow for you from flint rock, and fed you in the wilderness with manna, that your ancestors did not know, to humble you and to test you, and in the end to do you good. Do not say for yourself, my power and might of my own hand have gotten me this wealth. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, so that he may confirm his covenant that he swore to your ancestors, as he is doing today. And our gospel reading this day comes from Luke, the 17th chapter. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region of Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. When Jesus saw them, he said to them, Go and show yourself to the priests. And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? Then Jesus said to the man, Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well. Here ends the gospel reading. Now, to begin this night, I'm going to read a proclamation. A proclamation was put out by Congress long ago. Now, as I read this, just kind of think in your mind when this might have been written. This proclamation for a national Thanksgiving. It reads, For so much as it is an indispensable duty of all men to adore the superintending providence of Almighty God, to acknowledge with gratitude their obligation to him for benefits received, and to implore such farther blessings as they stand in need of, and having pleased him his abundant mercy, not only to continue to us the innumerable bounties of his common providence, but also smile upon us in the prosecution of a just and necessary war, for the defense and establishment of unalienable rights and liberties, particularly in that he hath been pleased in so great a measure to prosper the means used for the support of our troops, and to crown our arms with most signal success. It is therefore recommended to the legislative and executive powers of these United States to set apart Thursday, the 18th day of December, next, for solemn thanksgiving and praise, that with one heart and with one voice, the good people may express the grateful feelings of their hearts and consecrate themselves to the service of their divine benefactor. Any guesses on when this day for a national day of Thanksgiving that Congress put out might have been written? Now, of course, by the language, you can tell it's something pretty old. Any guesses? Well, it was written in the year 1777 by the Congress that actually they were meeting in York, Pennsylvania. This declaration was a call for the entire nation to give thanks to the Lord. Give thanks because, of course, early America, there's the Revolutionary War, and there are circumstances going on, all kinds of things happening in the world that led the Congress to give this response, to give a time of thanksgiving. Give a time of thanksgiving as it is only right to do. That the people should thank the Lord for the victories and what they have, all the goodness that is in their lives. To those in the Continental Congress at the time, it was only right to do this. To proclaim to everybody, give thanks to the Lord. Have a day of thanksgiving to God. Have that wonderful day where you show you're so thankful for all the Lord has given us. Now, a problem in the modern America is this idea of being thankful all the time. To look and gather together and give thanks to the Lord has kind of been thrown out the window. A lot of the problem is there's a lot of people who think there's no reason to give thanks. They have all kinds of reasons they're not thankful. Often it's the idea that they're entitled to all the good things of life. There's an idea that, yeah, they should get everything good, and they should get everything on a silver platter. We need to give thanks. Give thanks always and have it in our hearts. Give thanks always and live a different way. For thankfulness is needed in so many parts of life. How we interact with one another, and of course, how we interact with God. Now, in our reading from Deuteronomy, we see God give a warning to the Israelites as they're going to enter into the promised land. And he warns them not to become conceited, not to think that everything they do, all their success, is just them. That they shouldn't forget the Lord. This can easily happen, just as I said about happening in America today. People forget the Lord. They think all their success, all they've ever done is just them and no one else. They ignore the blessings that are there, the wonderful, gracious things that are there that someone should always give thanksgiving for. To forget the blessings that come, to forget the things to be thankful for, what people have done for us, is really quite foolish. It's foolish because it goes against what reality is, and it goes against the one who created all things, the one who is the source of why we should be thankful. Always thankful. Now, in our gospel reading tonight, we see 10 men, and they are healed by Jesus. They're lepers. Now, leprosy is a disease that meant people had to be isolated from others. They are permanently isolated from those they knew and loved. So, these men are all healed of their leprosy, but only one comes back to give thanks to Jesus, which of course he remarks on. Now, why were these men, I'm talking about the other 9 men, why were they not thankful? Why didn't they come and thank Jesus? Just like that one man who realized that he had been healed, who realized the power of God has come into his life and made him completely whole. Why did they not give thanks? Now, there's lots of reasons. There's lots of reasons why people aren't thankful, just like back then and into today. Now, earlier I mentioned one with people having a kind of sense of entitlement. The idea is they should always get what is good, so it doesn't matter. It's, well, it's really not even make sense to give thanks to everybody because that's what you're supposed to get. You're supposed to get these great, wonderful things in life, and that's it. Show no thanksgiving for it. Show no thanks for anything. That's one of the reasons those men might not return. Now, another reason could have been doubt. Doubt about God. They might have thought, maybe, did God really heal me? Did God really do this thing that seems so miraculous? Am I worthy to receive such healing? Did God really act in my life? There's that kind of doubt. And then there's the pessimism. The pessimism that so stops people from being thankful. Those other 9 men, they could have thought, well, this is a temporary thing. The disease of leprosy will come back. It's an illusion. I'm not really healed. Pessimism stops us from being thankful. Because in pessimism, the idea is things are bad and they're always going to be bad. It doesn't matter if things become good at some point. Things will always be bad. And that pessimism, that stops people from being thankful. It stops them from understanding what is in this world that people should rejoice about and be thankful for. Yes, it misses the point of the goodness that comes from so many people around them. And of course, from God. There are many reasons people are not thankful. Many reasons today, just as in Jesus' day. And it's never good when people aren't thankful. Because as I said earlier, it's not the truth. It's not the truth that there's wonderful things in this world that people should be thankful for. And it also harms those who should be thanked and recognized for the goodness they bring in their lives. In 1860, a ship went ashore on Lake Michigan, near Evanston, Illinois. There's a man named Edward Spencer who's part of a rescue saving team. And he waded through the cold water 17 times to rescue people from the ship. Now, his health was permanently affected by this. And when he passed, it was noted during his funeral that none of those 17 people ever thanked Edward. When we are not thankful, we don't recognize those around us. We don't say thank you because of the good they do, the blessing that they are in our lives. And of course, we miss thanking the Lord for his goodness and truth. Thankfulness. It should be shown by us. It's really to be shown by all people. Like, I read the proclamation from 1777 earlier. Well, imagine if that idea of thankfulness, where everybody just joins together and truly gives thanks, would be the same way today in 2022. How might our nation look if people had that spirit of thanksgiving, had that understanding of the blessings that come from God, that know there is so much good to rejoice about and give thanks? It'd truly be a better thing for our country. We should always be thankful, no matter what. Because even in the midst of troubles, even in the midst of problems, there is something always to be thankful for. Thankful because we look to God and those blessings that come, even when times are difficult. Now, this past summer, Vicki and I attended a cookout for ministers and their spouses. And it was actually at a church down in Carlisle, St. Matthew's. And at this cookout, we were all saying we were thankful because it's the first time it's happened in 2 years. Because, of course, the COVID pandemic, we just didn't meet. And as we were talking, the one person asked, "What are you thankful for from the time of the pandemic?" Of course, it's an interesting question. What are you thankful for a historic time that really upended all our lives? What are you thankful for in the midst of so much trouble and hardship? What are you thankful for that happened during the pandemic? Now, of course, there are lots of different answers. Like the one minister, he was thankful that because of the pandemic, he's able to write enough songs for an album for guitar and then record an album. And he actually played some of the songs at the cookout. There was another person, he was thankful because He's one of our outdoor chaplains. He actually is a chaplain at one of the parks. And he was thankful that he got to see new people that he normally wouldn't have seen. People getting out and going to parks. He was able to minister to them that way. Then there was the one minister, he was thankful that the pandemic happened because a couple months before the pandemic hit, his wife had a stroke. Because of the pandemic, he was able to have more time with her, help her, strengthen her. And then there was the one minister who went to see her father, who lives out west. Her going out helped save his life, because had she not been there with him when he had a major medical emergency, he would probably not be alive. There are always blessings, always things to be thankful for in the midst of all the troubles that surround us. There's always the one to look to and truly give thanks. Of course, Jesus Christ. Yes, we should be thankful. We should be, as we learn in Psalm 100, shout for joy to the Lord. Worship the Lord with gladness. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. Give thanks to the Lord for all that he has done for you. Give thanks to the Lord, like our ancestors in this country in 1777. Give thanks to the Lord just like the man who recognized the healing and the power that came from Jesus. And he went and thanked him. Be that thankful person. Be that thankful person that glories in all those around you. And of course, Jesus Christ.